I was going to say the odds makers have it at what, 15.5. So, I mean, 21 and 15.5, there's a big difference there. But, when you're trying to sit there and get money split on both sides of the line, I mean, obviously there's a belief that Ohio State is at least 2 touchdowns better plus a little. So is it that big of a stretch to get to 3 touchdowns? Ohio State's coming in off of what was, I guess considered a disappointing season, 11-2, no appearance in the Big Ten championship game, but a Rose Bowl championship, but certainly showed some vulnerabilities against Michigan, showed some vulnerabilities against Utah before finally pulling that game out 48-45. You bring in a whole bunch of new coaches to sit there and address the issues. And the last time that they did kind of a huge change on the defensive side and went from Greg Schiano to Jeff Hafley, things worked out. So, where is my score going to be at? I mean, my score changes frequently. I don't go out and write my score 3 weeks prior to the game, 2 weeks prior to the game and say, well, that's what I'm going to ride with at that point. But, I guess right now, I mean, if you asked me, I'm probably around 20 points at this point, and I don't feel terrible about it. I don't think that it's an overcorrection or some sort of preseason false bravado. That's I just think based on where the teams are right now and just kind of some recent history, that's what I got.
I miss the days of Ohio State fans, like 20 years ago. I remember the season opener against Texas Tech. Throughout the course of the summer, Texas Tech kept getting better and better without having played a game, kept getting tougher and tougher. Cliff Kingsbury was the second coming of this, and receivers and everything. And next year, I think the same thing happened with Washington. These season openers, 2006, you got to watch out for Northern Illinois. They've got Garrett Wolf, and you would just build these guys up. And then Urban Meyer comes along, and I think maybe eliminated some of that where you kind of you feel better about your team and your offense. But, I realize these aren't season openers. Virginia Tech in 2014 at home. We weren't doing a show then, but we probably could have been saying the same thing. I'm sure we said some of the same things about Oregon, the Oregon game last year. It wasn't a season opener, but I don't know how many people were picking Oregon in that one. So, 3 touchdowns. I think I'm not going to be shocked. I'm probably going to go. I have not even made a pick in terms of the line yet. Like, I don't even know who I'm taking in that one way or the other. I think one thing that should concern Ohio State fans is just the ability for Tyler Buchner to extend plays, make plays when you've got a defense that is moving all over the place, a brand new defense moving all over the place. They're saying all the right things about their communication, but if he's extending plays and somebody makes a break, I mean, that could lead to some big plays. And it only takes 2 big plays for a 14-point game to be a tie game. So I think that's an area of concern that I have for that game.
On BTN, they've been replaying the 95 game, and Notre Dame was winning, and then suddenly Notre Dame said, nope, we're done, and kept turning the ball over, and that game changed in a hurry. So I agree with Tony in regards to it just takes a couple of big plays. I do agree in terms of the mobility of Buchner. Michael Mayer is just going to be an issue. I mean, I can go back through a lot of Wisconsin tight ends and Iowa tight ends that Ohio State's had a hard time keeping tabs on, but that was also a different era in terms of maybe some of the Wisconsin tight ends where Ohio State's offense wasn't nearly as explosive. But, spoiler alert, I am going to pick Ohio State unless something, the bottom falls out of something or whatever. But I guess this is going to be a matter of by how many.
In the lifetime of everybody who is watching this show right now, I mean, I guess there's a possibility that somebody was alive in 1935, which would make them, 87 years old, I guess, or whatever that would be, when they played the first 2 times. Ohio State has beaten Notre Dame 4 times, and all 4 of them have been by double digits. I mean, 19 points in 1995, and then a game that you'll never see replayed anywhere, the 29-16 game the following year. And why won't you see it replayed anywhere is because Notre Dame and NBC own the rights to that, and that's not one they want shown to anybody, obviously. But Ohio State did go to South Bend, Indiana, and beat them 29-16. Demetrius Stanley returned the opening kickoff 85 yards, and Ohio State had a 7-0 lead before people had even sat down in their chairs. And then you have the two bowl games that the Buckeyes played against Notre Dame. They were 10 years apart. The 2007 Fiesta Bowl, I think, was the first one. I'm just looking for that one. That was the game. I told this story. I had to relieve myself, so I went into, or no, the second one was the 2015 season, the 2016 Fiesta Bowl. This is the story with that one. I was down the field taking pictures, but needed to go into the tunnel for a second to use the boys' room. And in a span of about 5 minutes, here came Joey Bosa, who had been ejected. And then here came Smith, the linebacker from Notre Dame, was drafted to the Cowboys.
Jalen Smith.
Yeah, Jalen Smith, and he had injured his knee, blew out his knee or something, or his ankle, whatever it was, and he was done. So in 5 minutes, I was on ESPN twice in the tunnel in the background as they took Joey Bosa out, and then here comes Smith. But the Buckeyes won that one 44-28, so that was a 16-point win. And then the 10 year prior to that, the 2006 Fiesta Bowl, 2005 season, Troy Smith threw for 1,000,000 yards, and they beat Notre Dame and Charlie Weiss 34-20. And Marcus Freeman was actually in that game, I guess, as what would he have been, a true freshman, would have played in that game. And 34-20, Ohio State won. That was the one where Charlie Weiss, was sitting there with twirling his Super Bowl rings and talking about the difference between him and Jim Tressel and his team having a decided schematic advantage and all this other horse shit. And, boy, he got it for the first of many times shoved up his front butt, with the way that one played out.
Well, Steve, what I got out of all that is I'm disappointed as a veteran media member that you didn't kind of take, your inventory, because, this wasn't a third overtime or something that you had to go run out on. This is like the first 5 minutes of the game.
First half, yeah. Well, these things happen.
Okay.
That was the I don't know if that was the Fiesta Bowl where I'm on the bus trying to get to the stadium for a 11 a.m. local start there in Phoenix, and it's like 10 a.m. and we're still on the bus. We can see the stadium, but we can't get to it because it's total gridlock. And I finally told the bus driver to just open the door, and we walked the last 3/4 of a mile to the stadium because they didn't know how to conduct traffic. Of course, Kevin and Tony were on the first bus leaving at 7 a.m. from the media hotel. They were in their seats by 7:30, I'm sure. But me, I'm the last one out of bed, the last one out of the hotel, last one on the bus, and last one to the stadium. So that's just the way that one worked out.